Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
We've talked before about those apps where you go to order food and an app pops up and makes you think that you're ordering from the restaurant itself, when in reality, it's a third party that's inserted themselves into the transaction, and many consumers don't know this, or they don't find out till later. And of course, it drives the cost of the food up. It means you're not buying the food from the restaurant, you're buying the food from the third-party app. All kinds of problems here. I have had some people say, Steve, what really is the problem? Well, those are the problems right there. And if I own a restaurant and I don't deliver, for instance, if someone else comes along and goes, well, we'll deliver their food for them and you order it from us, and someone logs on and uses that app and thinks that the delivery service works for me, that's going to cause problems with just customer relations. So when people get the food and they don't like it, they're going to call me up and yell at me. And I'm going to say, when were you in my restaurant? Oh, I wasn't. I ordered it from you. We don't do carryout. Yeah. I went on the internet, typed in your name, up popped an app. It had your logo on it. And that's the thing, is these companies often use the logos and the menus and everything from the actual restaurant without disclosing that they are a third party. And I can tell you right now that I have before gone into Google and typed in the name of a restaurant, a pizza place that does deliver. And the first 3 hits weren't them, even though it said the name of them. But I looked at the website and it wasn't them. So I had to go back down and just simply type in the name of the restaurant into the browser bar and do it that way. And the point is that using search engine optimization, these other companies had managed to get themselves above the actual restaurant when people were searching for the restaurant. Now, I know some people are going to say, Steve, if you go on the internet and you order something, you should know who you're ordering it from. It's on you. Well, I kind of think that, except that these people do use the logos, they often use the menus, and many people could go through the process thinking they're dealing with the restaurant. So, in Wisconsin, they're working on trying to solve the third-party delivery problems with their sites set on Uber Eats, Grubhub, and DoorDash. This is a story from Wisconsin State Journal that Dooley sent me. Samara Kalk-Derby wrote it. When an online app used for ordering takeout kept listing the menus of his restaurant without his consent, the owner, Patrick DePula, became irritated. Even though we would tell them to take the menus down, the companies went ahead and did it anyway. So third-party food delivery services such as Grubhub, DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Eat Street, which apparently is based in Madison, can help restaurant owners connect with customers, especially during COVID, but they can also cause problems. Because as you can imagine, if I had a restaurant and I don't want to hire delivery people, I could get one of these apps to deliver it for me. And that might be something I like. So, a bipartisan bill introduced in the state legislature last month seeks to rein in those services. Now, DePula couldn't wait for the legislative remedy, so when Grubhub kept posting his menus without his permission, he took matters into his own hands. Grubhub drivers would show up in his restaurants on Livingston Street and Sun Prairie and try to use a credit card to pay for something while jacking up the price paid by the customer to absurd levels. As a test, he said he had Grubhub deliver a single pizza. On the menu, it was $22, and after delivery, it was $38. From $22 to $38. So DePula said that he finally told his employees to start charging the drivers a fee. The first time it happened, we charged an extra $300 in the Grubhub credit card, and they were like, there's a mistake. And he said, yeah, there's a mistake. Stop doing it. After he did this a few times, Grubhub got the message and took the man's restaurant off its platform, and now his other restaurants are showing up on Uber Eats, but just not Grubhub. So it's apparently something, it's like whack-a-mole. In the last few years, with indoor dining curtailed or eliminated, delivery services have gotten more popular, and restaurant owners have complained about services putting menus on their sites without permission and charging exorbitant fees that can increase an order by as much as 30%. Senator Patrick Testin, the bill's lead author in the Senate, said legislators were approached by the Wisconsin Restaurant Association to take up the matter. They want some basic guardrails and assurances, he said. We want to make sure there's an agreement between the third-party vendor and the restaurant, and that the restaurant agrees to have their information up there and to participate in the service. He said he was part of a stakeholder meeting Wednesday between the Wisconsin Restaurant Association and representatives from those third-party companies. He said, I think we agree in principle that this is something that needs to be addressed. We're working with both sides of this to come to a good compromise that'll be in the best interests of everyone. Christine Hilmer, who's president and CEO of the Wisconsin Restaurant Association, said some third-party delivery service providers take the logo, the name, an old menu, and old pricing and put it on their app. Then they will deliver for those restaurants with no formal relationship. The restaurant may not even know or have the ingredients to make the things that are ordered because they're using an old menu. What it does is it puts the restaurants in a difficult position because they don't have a relationship with that company, and they insert themselves between the restaurants and the customers. And that's the problem. So you order food from someplace. It arrives screwed up. You call the restaurant to complain, and they go, "We didn't deliver that to you." Who delivered that to you? We don't do delivery. So the bill, which will get a hearing soon before the Senate Labor and Regulatory Reform Committee, would require that the delivery services ensure that menus, descriptions, and prices related to a restaurant are accurate. Under the bill, the services must also disclose to restaurants the amount of any commissions, delivery fees, and promotional fees charged. They must also ensure that their delivery drivers have knowledge of basic food safety principles. Oh, you're handling food? That might come in handy. The services must also give restaurant operators access to details related to orders and must let operators view and respond to consumer feedback and reviews. The senator said the bill, as it is currently written, will likely be amended to accommodate some of the changes that were discussed at the stakeholder meeting. Legislators will also take a look at language that was adopted in similar bills in Missouri and Texas, adding that 9 states plus D.C. have passed legislation addressing this issue. Matt Van Nest, who's co-owner of a restaurant on Monroe Street, said he's had trouble with Grubhub ordering his food, and more than half the time, it was food the restaurant no longer sold. It's infrequent, he said, and 90% of the time his employees have caught it and simply refused to make the food. But he said he's had a good experience with Eat Street, which is the Madison-based food delivery company, and it's the only delivery service that he actually authorizes and uses. He likes Eat Street because it has its own employees instead of private contractors. His restaurant doesn't see a lot of delivery business, maybe 2 or 3 orders a night, and having Eat Street handle delivery is preferable to him, coordinating that service and having to worry about insurance and liability. That's not what our model is. We're not a delivery place. Meanwhile, Hilmer said Eat Street is a valued partner to a lot of restaurants and not one of the big 3, which is Uber, Grubhub, and DoorDash, but they're also at the table. Meanwhile, a restaurant needs to be able to have control over their product and what's happening with it and not have companies insert themselves into that relationship. We just want the restaurant to be, pun intended, in the driver's seat to say who can and who cannot deliver their food, Hilmer said. And I know that the last few times I've talked about this, I've had people say, Steve, if I have a company like Uber Eats and someone hires me and says, I want you to order the food for me and I'll pay you to go get it and bring it to me, there's nothing wrong with that relationship. And I agree with you, there's not in how I just described it to you. However, there is a problem if I am a company and without the permission of a restaurant, I take their logo and their menu, put it on my website, and mislead people into thinking they're ordering from you when they're ordering from me. Now, there's a fine line between being misled and being ignorant. And it's true that some people might not be paying attention and might have caught this if they'd paid attention. But if you look at the price disparities between the delivery service, third party, or the delivery service run by the business, because I'm here to tell you that there is a pizza place near where I order pizza quite often that delivers. They do not have sit-down dining. All they do is delivery or carry-out. That's all they do. And if I type their name into Google, the top 3 hits are not them. It's 3 other companies saying, we will order the pizza from them, pick it up from them, and deliver it to you at a jacked up price. And if I go to the website and look, they got their logo and their menu. And so if you're not paying attention, it's very easy to be misled by that. So if I was crafting this legislation, I'm the almighty person who gets to dictate time, space, and dimension in Wisconsin. I would draft a legislation and say that there must be ways to let the consumers know that they're ordering from a third-party site. So you aren't ordering this from the pizza place. You're ordering it from a delivery service that will go to the pizza place, get it, and bring it back to you. And that disclosure shouldn't hurt you if you're on the up and up, right? How does it harm you if we say you've got to let people know that you are distinct from the restaurant? That can't hurt you, not if you're legitimate, right? So I think these laws are necessary, and I think there's going to be a lot of just commotion in this field because these delivery services are going to be pushing back mighty hard on this. And I think they're going to be pushing back mighty hard because they know they're going to lose a ton of business because a lot of people mistakenly order through them. And when your business model is based on people mistakenly using you, I would suggest that perhaps you should rethink your business model. So what I would do if I was Grubhub or DoorDash or one of these other companies, I would go out of my way to try to get friendly relationships with the restaurants and say, we're going to do what we can to coexist with you and work with you. And I can see where there's some restaurants that would like to deliver, but there's going to be a threshold you got to hit where it makes it worthwhile. Because if you got a delivery person sitting around and they get one delivery a night, it's not worthwhile to do that. But somebody like this who's delivering for a bunch of different places might be able to work in your few deliveries until you can build the business up. So it's an interesting situation. Dooley sent it to me out of Madison, Wisconsin. The Wisconsin State Journal and Samara Kalk Derby wrote it. They're working to solve the third-party delivery problems with sites set on Uber Eats, Grubhub, and DoorDash. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. On the other hand, you have different fingers.